Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Advanced figure preview video. Now for those of you who are new to the channel, maybe you haven't seen one of these before, this is basically a way for me to showcase some prototypes that may or may not make it into production, but ones that I'm fairly confident Hot Toys are going to release. So if this guy does actually go up for pre-order, and the same thing goes for either of the other quarter scale Spideys, I will pop the link down in the description below to head over to Toys Wonderland, where they do have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. Also, a huge thank you goes out to Ryan Kirkwood for this gorgeous high-res footage and the fantastic pictures as well. Show Ryan some love because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. Now the reason I selected the quarter scale integrated suit to do this video on rather than the other two is because I think it stands the highest chance of actually being made, seeing as it's the new flagship suit from the movie. This is kind of like the Mark 85 but for Spidey. If this is indeed his last MCU appearance, because it's kind of up in the air as it always seems to be, then this may very well be the final MCU suit. So if Hot Toys were going to only make one more quarter-scale Spidey, this one would be the one to make. Also, he's shown with one of the most incredible quarter-scale diorama-style bases that I have ever seen. This is something else. So just like the 1/6 scale version of this guy, there are some Doc Ock tentacles, except this time you get two pretty much full quarter-scale tentacles, plus lights inside. And of course, you would expect these to be fully articulated, and the bottom part of the base itself is this scaffolding kind of iron girder-style piece with some metal grate flooring. There's rubble, there's debris, there's pipes, there's broken glass, and there are also some lights in the base itself. There is a lot going on here. Does it beat the Vulture base for me personally, the one that came with the quarter scale Homecoming Spidey? It's a tough question. I think if I had to answer that question, then yes, it does for me. I think that Doc Ock is kind of a little bit more of an iconic villain. I know, Vulture is awesome too, I love Michael Keaton, but the nostalgia, it kind of just wins out here. Plus, the tentacles are fully articulated, there are a bunch of lights in here, there were with the Vulture base as well, but I think this one looks just slightly more dynamic. Granted, that one did have the ability to chop and change bits and pieces so you can change around the layout. I don't know if this is going to have that same functionality, we'll have to wait and see, but having those articulated Doc Ock arms, yeah, it's a huge plus. Speaking of huge, we also have a massive quarter-scale Spidey to talk about. Now, I said when the Homecoming Spidey came out that I suspected that wasn't their only quarter-scale Spidey in the works. One of the most expensive things when it comes to figure manufacturing is making an all-new mold for an all-new body. And when you're doing that at quarter scale, those costs are even higher. So I thought, yeah, it would make sense to see more quarter scale releases, and that's why we are seeing a bunch more here. We're seeing 3 in fact. If you do want to see a little bit more on the other 2, make sure you check out the Spider-Man event tour as well, where we talk about those other Spidey figures. But yeah, this, in my opinion, was absolutely to be expected. Now, they did have to make a couple of changes, which we'll talk about in just a second, but it seems as though he will be coming with that elusive Marvel version of the Mother Box. I don't actually know if that's what this is, but it's a magical Doctor Strange-esque box. There's some scripture, some awesome design work, paint applications look awesome. Now, the Spidey head sculpt is gorgeous. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a new Tom Holland head sculpt as well, but for now, this is all they've shown. And, oh yes, it looks very good. It is a fabric head sculpt, but in quarter scale, they can almost perfectly hide those seam lines. In fact, they're almost invisible. You'll see it again in just a second. He does also have the massive gold spider logo on his chest that wraps around over his shoulders, that I'm pretty sure are the leftover remnants of the nanotech that he integrates with the upgraded suit to create this all-new integrated suit. I'm pretty sure that's where the name came from. But either way, back to the head sculpt, it's flawless. The stitching is almost invisible, magnetic lenses, and because it is made out of fabric, the texture will match perfectly to the body. One thing that I've seen people mention as well is the shape has finally been perfected. It doesn't look too slim or too tall, it looks like a head in a mask. Now, as I said just a moment ago, there were some changes that had to be made to this body, namely for the spider arms. I don't know what the back looks like, I don't know how they are going to peg in, and I don't know how secure they are going to be. I would imagine quite, because Hot Toys are usually pretty good with those sorts of things. They look awesome. They add a whole new dimension to quarter scale Spidey. He was already a big, imposing presence in the display. With these arms, he's even more so. Now, most collectors out there who watch my videos are probably 1/6 scale collectors, and 1/6 scale Spidey figures are aplenty. There are a bunch to choose from. Now, with this guy potentially entering the quarter scale Spidey line, it's starting to heat up. The question is going to then become, do I get the tech suit or do I get the integrated suit? I think it all boils down to which one is the more iconic of the two for you, for your own personal collection. If you mostly collect 1/6 scale, this guy might not even fit into your collection, but I still argue the point that this guy is your centerpiece. If you love Spidey, this can and probably likely will be your only quarter scale item, and it can stand out. It can be that one focal point, that badass looking attention grabber that sits front and center in your display. Or, if you don't collect anything at all, but you love Spidey, you could just as easily make this your one Spider-Man piece, and it looks incredible enough for it to be that one piece and hold its own. Now, if this guy does actually go up for pre-order, I will pop the link down below to head over to toyswonderland.com. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. While you're down there, check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.